Have you ever wondered what it would be like if Disney Channel had their own Smash Bros game? No, you haven't? It's just me? Perfect. Hey Internet, I'm Mike Bryce, and in this video, I'm going to be creating a Super Smash Bros game including Disney Channel IPs. After you watch the video, let me know if there's any characters that I did not include here that you'd like to see added. On top of that, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, as we are currently on the path to 10,000 subscribers. Your support to the channel is much appreciated and does not go unnoticed, so I just want to say thank you so much. Anyways, without further ado, let's meet our roster of fighters. So for our roster of fighters, I decided to include 20 playable characters from a variety of Disney Channel IPs. I tried to include as many Disney Channel IPs as I could, but some shows do include more than one playable character here just due to how popular those series were. So starting off with our first playable fighter, we have one of Disney Channel's most popular IPs, Hannah Montana from, well, the Hannah Montana series. Now as for Hannah's playstyle, it would be very charismatic and flashy, and would see Hannah use music and stage antics to dazzle and damage her opponents. For her two standard moves, I decided to include Mic Smash, which involves swinging her microphone like a club for quick melee damage, as well as a guitar swing, in which she would spin her guitar in a circular motion to hit enemies around her. As for her specials, her neutral special would be Pop Star Blast, in which she would throw a microphone that explodes into a burst of glitter. Her side special is Dance Dash, where she would slide forward with a dance move, dealing damage and knocking enemies away. Her up special is Stage Dive, where she jumps upward, creating a small shockwave when she lands. And her down special would be Costume Change, where she would temporarily switch into Miley Stewart for quicker, lighter attacks, which is very similar to how Zelda acted in Melee and Brawl, where she could switch to Sheik. Kind of the same vibe here with Hannah. Now for Hannah's final smash, I thought it was most appropriate to have a World Tour final smash, where she would transform the stage into a massive concert, where bright lights and fireworks would hit all opponents. The next character on this list is probably the one that would make the most sense for a fighting game, and that's Kim Possible from the Kim Possible series. One of my favorite Disney Channel IPs, by the way. Kim Possible, super freaking amazing! Now Kim's playstyle would be very agile and strategic, in which Kim relies on her spy gadgets and acrobatics. Now for her standard moves, she has a punch-kick combo, which is just a flurry of martial art strikes. Her second special move is a spy grapple, in which she uses her grappling hook for medium-range attacks. Now when it comes to her special attacks, her neutral special would be Laser Lipstick, in which she fires a short-range laser from her lipstick. Now her side special would be Rufus, in which she would pull Rufus out of her pocket and have him damage enemies. Her up special is a Jetpack Leap, in which she flies forward with her jetpack, hitting enemies in her path. And for her down special, we have the Communicator Shield, in which she activates a protective energy shield for a short time. Kim's final smash is called Mission Mode. This would see her team up with Ron, Rufus, and Wade to unleash a coordinated barrage of attacks, finishing with a giant explosion. Our third playable fighter is actually a 2-for-1 special, and it's Phineas and Ferb from the Phineas and Ferb series. Now Phineas and Ferb's playstyle would be very similar to the Ice Climbers, in which they would work together to use innovative and unpredictable attacks. Now their first standard move is Wrench Swing, in which they would swing a wrench for basic melee damage. Their second standard move is Blueprint Slam, in which they would throw a rolled up blueprint that knocks opponents back. For their specials, their neutral special is Gadget Toss, in which they would throw random small inventions like toy robots, boomerangs, and so on and so on. Their side special is Coaster Cart, in which they would ride a small coaster cart forward, dealing heavy damage. A nice throwback to their roller coaster invention. Their up special is similar to Kim's, as it's a jetpack rocket, which would launch them forward on a rocket-powered backpack. For their down special, we have Invention Drop, which would summon a random invention to attack, like a catapult or a shrink ray or, something fun like that. Phineas and Ferb's final smash is the Ultimate Invention, in which would construct a giant multi-stage contraption that traps all opponents and launches them with a final explosion. Everything is not what it seems, but it does seem that our fourth fighter is Alex Russo from Wizards of Waverly Place. Also, don't judge me in the comments for that cringe singing. I know it was bad, okay? You don't have to remind me. Now, obviously, being a wizard, Alex's playstyle would be very magic-focused, where she would use spells and wit to dominate the battlefield. Her first standard move is Wand Blast, in which she fires small magical projectiles for ranged attacks. Her second standard move is Spellbook Bash, in which she hits enemies with her spellbook for heavy melee damage. For her specials, her neutral special is a freezing spell, in which she casts a spell that freezes enemies in place briefly. Her side special is Portal Leap, where she creates a magical portal to teleport for a short distance and attack. Teleport 8? Why is that so hard to read? Where she creates a magical portal to teleport a short distance and attack. Her up special is her Levitation Charm. This would allow her to float upward while dealing damage with a magical aura. Finally, her down special is an animal attack. This would see her summon a variety of different animals like frogs, spiders, those gross kind of things, to attack her enemies. Alex's final smash is Wizard Duel. This would summon a massive arena-wide spell that causes explosions, stunning all opponents. Finishing off our top row of fighters, we have another duo being Zack and Cody from The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody and The Sweet Life on Deck. Now, similar to the Ice Climbers from Smash Bros. Or Phineas and Ferb from this video, Zack and Cody are another dynamic duo. Their first standard move is Twin Tackle, which sees both Zack and Cody charge forward together. Their second standard move is Backpack Smash, which would see them swing a backpack for quick melee attack. Their neutral special would be Water Balloon, in which they would throw water balloons for medium range damage. Their side special is Luggage Cart, in which they ride on a luggage cart that rolls forward and knocks back enemies. Their up special is Elevator Escape. This would see both boys jump into an elevator that propels them upward. Their down special is Stink Bomb, in which they would toss a stink bomb on the stage, and any enemy that makes contact with it would be temporarily stunned. For their final smash, we have Tipped in Chaos. This would summon a massive cascade of hazards like falling luggage, elevators, and topping it off with Mr. Mosby yelling at enemies, dealing massive damage. Oh snap! Starting off our second row of fighters, we have the fabulous Raven Baxter, you bunch of nasties. Raven's playstyle combines her psychic abilities with physical comedy and sass for a unique mix of ranged and close combat. Her first standard move is Tray Smash, where she swings a food tray for extra knockback. Her second standard move is Sassy Spin. This move would involve her twirling with dramatic flair, hitting nearby enemies. As for her specials, her neutral special is Psychic Vision. This would allow Raven to see the future, predicting an enemy's next move and briefly dodging their attacks automatically. Her side special is Psychic Push. This creates a telekinetic shockwave that pushes opponents away. Her up special is Dramatic Leap, which would involve her leaping upward in a theatrical pose, hitting enemies above her. And finally, her down special is Vision Vortex, that sucks in nearby opponents. As for Raven's final smash, I decided to go with Fashion Frenzy, since she is such a fashionable diva. Fashion Frenzy would summon a whirlwind of costumes and props that spin around the stage, damaging opponents and launching them away. Next, we have our final tag team fighters on this list, and it's Dipper and Mabel from Gravity Falls. A show which I really wish that I watched a lot more because I really have heard great things about it. Their first standard move is Journal Smack, which would see Dipper swinging his Gravity Falls journal for quick melee attacks. Their second standard move is Grappling Hook, which would see Mabel using her grappling hook to punch enemies. For their specials, their neutral special is Gnome Vomit, in which Dipper would summon a gnome that spits rainbows, dealing medium range damage. Their side special is Waddles Charge, where Mabel rides Waddles the pig, charging forward and knocking back enemies. Their up special is Portal Jump, which uses a Gravity Falls portal to teleport upwards, damaging enemies in its path. Finally, their down special is Mystery Item, which pulls a random item from the Mystery Shack. Their final smash is Bill Cipher, which of course is a reference to the main antagonist of the series. This final smash would summon Bill Cipher, who distorts the scream and bombards enemies with lasers and floating objects. Next, we have a rep from one of Disney Channel's most popular IPs in the early 2000s, and it's Lizzie McGuire. But not just regular Lizzie, but it's her cartoon form. I'm adding her cartoon form over her human form just to shake things up a little bit. Lizzie's cartoon form is nimble and humorous, using exaggerated animations and teen drama antics. Her first standard move is Sparkle Punch, which is a dramatic swing that leaves sparkly effects. Her second standard move is Diary Whip, where she throws her diary at enemies for mid-range damage. For her specials, her neutral special is Bubblegum Pop, in which she blows a bubble that bursts, stunning opponents in front of her. Her side special is Skateboard Dash, in which she rides her skateboard forward, knocking opponents out of the way. Her up special is Daydream Leap, in which Lizzie leaps forward with sparkles and doodles floating around her. And finally, her down special is Mood Swap, in which Lizzie dramatically changes expressions, altering her stats. For example, maybe getting a speed boost when happy, or extra power when angry. Cartoon Lizzie's final smash is Doodle World, in which she transforms the stage into her cartoon sketch world, where enemies are hit by doodles, hearts, and random teenage drama symbols. You know, maybe like some hashtags in there, maybe some LOLs. Do the kids even say LOL anymore? I don't know. I'm not hip. I'm an old man now. I'm sorry. Next, we have a rep from another one of my favorite Disney Channel IPs, and it's Oscar Proud from the Proud family. Now, you may be wondering why I'm not adding Penny here instead, since she was the main character, but I don't know, I just feel like Oscar would have a lot more fun of a moveset. So that's why I'm adding him. Oscar will be a chaotic fighter. He uses hilarious Proud Family antics, failed inventions, and over-the-top slapstick comedy. Oscar's first standard move is Proud Snacks, in which he throws Proud Snacks as projectiles. His second standard move is Dance Shuffle, which is a comedic shuffle step that dodges enemies' attacks while dealing light damage. Oscar's neutral special is Mr. Chips, which would act very similarly to Peach's Toad, where pretty much it can deflect enemy attacks. His side special is Scooter Charge, in which he rides a malfunctioning scooter forward, knocking enemies aside. His up special is the Proud Hover Boots, in which he uses an experimental hover boot to fly forward, leaving a damaging smoke trail. And finally, his down special is Sauce Spill, in which he throws a bottle of Proud sauce on the ground, creating a slippery hazard. Oscar's final smash is pretty much just a reference to one of his famous catchphrases, which is Trudy! This final smash would just pretty much summon Trudy, who would do some massive damage to enemies. From the J to the A to the K to the E, he's the Mac Daddy Dragon from the NYC. He's the American Dragon and our next playable fighter. It's Jake Long, but in his American Dragon form. The American Dragon's first standard move is Claw Swipe, which is just a quick melee slash with his claws. His second standard move is Tail Whip, in which he spins his tail in a circular motion, hitting enemies around them. For his specials, his neutral special is Flame Burst, in which he breathes a cone of fire, dealing high damage at close range. His side special is Dragon Dash, in which he charges forward with a fiery tackle, knocking enemies back. His up special is Wing Descent, in which he flies upward with powerful wing flaps, creating gusts of wind that damage nearby foes. And finally, his down special is Roar of the Dragon, in which he lets out a massive roar that stuns all opponents nearby. His final smash is called Dragon King, in which he transforms into his ultimate dragon form, becoming larger and unleashing a barrage of powerful fire attacks across the entire stage. Starting off our third row of fighters, we have Milo Murphy from Milo Murphy's Law? I think that's what it's called. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know too much about this IP, I just know it was popular, which is why I'm adding him as a playable character. So Milo's playstyle is all about chaos and unpredictability, with Murphy's Law manifesting in his moveset to create hazards for both himself and his opponents. The first of his standard moves is Umbrella Spin. With this move, he spins his umbrella, deflecting projectiles and dealing light damage. His second standard move is Roller Skate Ram, in which he dashes forward on skates, knocking enemies aside. His first special move is his neutral special, which is Item Manifestation. With this move, he would drop a random object on the stage, and the objects can damage both enemies and Milo. His side special is Backpack, in which he swings his massive backpack for a strong melee attack. His up special is Parachute Glide, in which he glides upwards with his parachute. His down special is Chaos Shield. This would allow Milo to create a chaotic force field around him, damaging anyone who touches it, but also knocking Milo back slightly. Milo's final smash is appropriately called Murphy's Law. This would create a massive chain of events that would unfold, like falling objects, runaway vehicles, and random explosions that damage everyone on the stage except Milo. Now this next playable fighter is from a series that's already been represented on this list. Now we already have Phineas and Ferb, but you may be asking yourself, where's Perry? Well, he's right here as our next playable fighter. A secret agent through and through, Perry's playstyle relies on agility, gadgets, and martial arts. Perry's first standard move is Platypus Punch, which is just a quick and precise jab. His second standard move is Hat Throw, in which he throws his fedora like a boomerang, damaging enemies on its way out and back. Perry's neutral special is Grapple Hook, in which he fires a grappling hook that pulls enemies closer or lets Perry swing to safety. His side special is Platypus Kick, in which he dashes forward with a flying kick. His up special is Hat Bounce, in which he bounces off of his hat, launching himself upwards. And for his down special, it's actually a reference to his arch nemesis, and it's Innator Sabotage. This move would summon one of Dr. Doofenshmirtz's Innators, which causes random effects like explosions, freezing, or even healing Perry. Perry's final smash is called Reinforcement, in which Perry summons other animal agents to storm the stage, attacking opponents and dealing massive damage. The next playable fighter is the newest character on this list, and it's Luz from Owl House. Or maybe it's Luz? I'm actually not sure. I'm not gonna lie, I have never seen Owl House, but that's okay, you can correct me in the comments. Luz mixes creativity and magic from the Boiling Isles, using glyphs and her eagerness to fight in unique and strategic ways. Her first standard move is Light Orb Smash. With this move, she would create a glowing orb, and smash it at enemies for a close range attack. Her second standard move is Staff Strike, in which she strings her staff for heavy melee damage. For her specials, her neutral special would be Glyph Combo, in which she summons a fire, ice, or plant glyph. Her side special is Hootie Assist, in which Hootie bursts out of her staff, attacking enemies in a straight line. Her up special would be Light Jump, in which she creates a light glyph below her to launch herself upward. Her down special would be Magic Circle, in which she draws a temporary trap on the ground that activates when stepped on, damaging and stunning enemies. For Luz's final smash, I decided to go with Owl House Guardians. This would have Luz summon Eden King, who would attack the stage with massive magical blasts and chaotic energy. Next up, we have another badass woman, and it's Star from Star vs. the Forces of Evil. Star is a wild and unpredictable character, and she would use her powerful wand and chaotic magic to dominate the stage. Her first standard move is Sparkle Blast, in which she would fire a burst of sparkles for light range damage. Her second standard move is Wand Strike, in which she swings her wand like a hammer for melee attacks. Her neutral special is Narwhal Blast, in which she fires magical narwhals that home in on enemies. Her side special would be Rainbow Tornado, in which she summons a spinning rainbow vortex that moves forward, damaging anyone caught in it. Her up special is Dimensional Leap, where she uses her dimensional scissors to teleport upward. And finally, her down special is Magic Storm, where she summons a storm of random magical effects, ranging from explosions to stunning hearts. Star's final smash would be Star Crazed Rampage, in which she transforms into her butterfly mode and unleashes a massive beam of magic across the stage, dealing heavy damage to all opponents. And finally, finishing off the third row of characters, we have another character who's from a series that's already been represented, but I believe that you could not have a Disney Channel Smash Bros. Without adding Shigo from Kim Possible. Shigo would be fast and ruthless, using her plasma energy and martial arts skills to outmaneuver and outfight opponents. Her first standard move is Plasma Slash, in which she swipes with her glowing plasma claws for close combat. Her second standard move would be Spin Kick, in which she executes a spinning kick that knocks opponents back. For her specials, her neutral special would be Plasma Burst, where she'd fire a short-range plasma projectile that explodes on impact. Her side special is an Acrobatics Flip, in which she flips forward, delivering a powerful kick. There would also be the possibility that you could chain this into another move. Her up special is Plasma Jump, where she launches upward with a burst of plasma energy, damaging anyone nearby. And for her down special, we have Energy Trap, where she plants a glowing plasma orb on the ground that explodes after a delay or when triggered by an opponent. I know there's a lot of plasma here, but we are talking about Shigo, so it's appropriate. Shigo's final smash would be the Ultimate Plasma Surge. This would have Shigo unleash a massive wave of plasma energy, covering the entire stage and dealing heavy damage to all enemies caught in it. We have finally made it to the final row of fighters. And starting it off, we have a fighter representing the oldest Disney Channel IP on this list, and kind of an obscure one. It's Jet Jackson from the famous Jet Jackson. However, he'll be fighting in his Silverstone persona, but I'm still gonna call him Jet Jackson. So Jet Jackson in his Silverstone persona is a slick action hero fighter who excels in acrobatics, gadgets, and precise strikes. His first standard move is Hero Punch, which is a powerful punch with cinematic flair. His second standard move is a kick combo, which is just a quick series of martial arts kicks. For his specials, his neutral special is Gadget Dart, in which he fires a gadget-powered dart that stuns opponents briefly. His side special would be an acrobatic roll, where he would roll forward to dodge attacks while delivering a kick at the end. His up special would be Slow-Mo Leap, in which he would jump upward in this over-dramatic slow-mo hero way. And finally, his down special would be Smoke Bomb, where he would drop a smoke bomb that obscures visibility and slightly damages opponents. For Jet Jackson's final smash, I decided to give him Silverstone Action Hero, in which he transforms into full action hero mode, summoning explosions, laser traps, and dramatic leaps across the stage, hitting all enemies. Get ready to pull back that Prindle, because our next playable character is the airheaded heiress. It's London Tipton, who's from The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody and The Sweet Life on Deck. London would 100% be a comedic character who uses her wealth and cluelessness as a weapon, so you should expect some flashy and hilarious attacks. London's first standard move is Tipton Toss, in which she throws random luxury items at enemies, like maybe some shoes or handbags or tiaras or something like that. Her second standard move is Selfie Flash, in which she takes a selfie with a camera flash that stuns nearby opponents. London's neutral special would be Butler Assist, in which Mr. Mosby rushes in to push enemies out of her way. Her side special is Credit Card Swipe, in which she dashes forward with her credit card in hand, damaging anyone in her path. Her up special is actually going to be the same as Zack and Cody because I really couldn't think of anything else, so it's Elevator Escape, which once again just summons an elevator that propels her upwards, while enemies are knocked aside. And for her down special, we have Glitter Bomb, which drops a glitter-filled suitcase that explodes, damaging and dazing opponents. As for her final smash, could it be anything other than Yay Me? This would pretty much just have her jumping and dancing across the stage while singing her London Tipton's really great, really great, really great song and pretty much damaging enemies that way. Pajabbers! Our next playable character is kind of an odd choice and pretty obscure like Jet Jackson, but he is from one of my favorite Disney Channel IPs, which I'm so sad got canceled for no real reason because it was so freaking funny. Let me freaking tell you! It's Dave the Barbarian from Dave the Barbarian. So Dave's playstyle would be powerful but clumsy, using oversized weapons and unintentional humor to battle opponents. So for Dave's standard moves, his first one is just straight up Lula. And for those of you who don't know, that's just the name of his sword, so pretty much it's just like a sword slash. His second standard move would be Shield Bash, in which he would use his shield to knock opponents back. As for Dave's specials, his neutral special is Cow Catapult, in which he launches a cow projectile that bounces across the stage. Which is actually kind of a reference to that episode where Dave gets turned into the cow, so that's where that move comes from. His side special is Barbarian Charge, in which Dave just runs forward with his sword extended, tripping hilariously if the attack misses. His up special is Faffy Flap, in which he uses his pet dragon Faffy to fly upwards. And finally, his down special is Faffy Strike, in which he uses Faffy again to damage enemies with his lightning breath. For Dave's final smash, I actually decided to go with Chef Dave. This would be very similar to Kirby's final smash from Brawl, and I believe it was his final smash in Smash 4 as well, where pretty much he would just throw a bunch of ingredients and his opponents into a giant boiling pot and watch it explode. This next playable fighter is a very interesting one because not only is she from a series that's already been represented, but she's also kind of a comedic character and an echo fighter to an extent. But she's just so hilarious I had to add her. It's Sugar Mama from the Proud Family. So when I say she's an echo fighter, I'm referring to her having a similar moveset to Oscar, with some slight differences, as her first standard move is Purse Smash, in which she swings her iconic purse for heavy melee damage. Her second standard move is Cane Whack, in which she uses her cane to trip up enemies. So it's in her specials and Final Smash that you'll really see similarities to Oscar, but for her neutral special, we have Puff Pounce, which is very similar to Mr. Chips, which was essentially the Toad from Peach's moveset, in which Puff pretty much would just deflect enemy attacks. Her side special is Scooter Dash, in which she rides a motorized scooter forward, running over opponents, which is also very similar to Oscar's side special. Her up special is more unique to her, and it is Cane Jump, in which she uses her cane to pull vault upward, which also knocks enemies aside. And finally, her down special is also kind of unique, and it's Sugar Slam, where she slams her purse to the ground, creating a shockwave that damages nearby foes. So for her final smash, I decided to go with Dr. Pain. Dr. Pain is the exact same as Oscar's final smash Trudy, just instead of Sugar Mama summoning Trudy, she summons Dr. Pain, who of course has so much love for Sugar Mama, as he should, because Sugar Mama is hilarious, iconic, legendary, all of that stuff. We love us some Sugar Mama. And finally, we are at our last playable fighter on this list. And this playable fighter is very, very interesting because they actually don't originate from a Disney Channel show, rather a Disney Channel movie. So we're all in this together with our final fighter. It's Troy Bolton from High School Musical. So Troy would use basketball-themed moves and his stage charisma to dazzle and outmaneuver his enemies. So Troy's first standard move is Basketball Bounce, in which he bounces a basketball off enemies for quick damage. His second standard move is Fast Dribble, where he dribbles the basketball repeatedly, damaging enemies in front of him. For his specials, his neutral special is 3-Point Shot, in which he throws a basketball in a straight line for range damage. His side special is Fast Break, where he dashes forward, spinning to knock back opponents. His up special would be Hoop Leap, where he summons a basketball hoop to jump through, launching himself upward. Finally, his down special is Pep Rally, where he boosts his stats temporarily while a cheering crowd appears. For Troy's final smash, I decided to go with Slam Dunk. I thought that was pretty appropriate for him. This would pretty much turn the stage into a basketball court, and Troy leads his team into a flashy, coordinated attack, including flying basketballs and spotlights that damage enemies. Whew, so we finally made it through all 20 playable characters here. So what do you think? Would you be down to play this Disney Channel Smash Bros. Game if it was real? Let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know if there's any characters that you'd love to see as DLC in this game that I did not include. Once again, I've been Mike Bryce. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye everyone.